The first time Jax Harlan saw Lila Voss, she was singing to an empty bar in Silver Lake, her voice cracking on the high notes like a radio left on in the rain. The place smelled of spilled IPA and old dreams. Jax nursed a flat ginger ale at the counter, pretending to scroll through his phone while he studied her reflection. In the mirror behind the bottles, she wore a thrift store dress the colour of oxidized copper, and her hair was twisted up with a pencil. When she finished the song, something about a girl who traded her shadow for a spotlight, 3 drunks clapped. One of them, because his hand was already in motion toward his glass. Jax waited until she stepped off the tiny stage, guitar case banging against her knee. He slid a 20 across the bar for her tip, jar even though the bartender hadn't collected yet. "You're good," he said. Not a question, a verdict. Lila looked at the bill, then at him. "Thanks. You a scout?" "Something like that." He extended a hand. "Jax Harlan. I run a little label out of my garage. Indie stuff. Real stuff." She shook his hand. Her fingers were calloused from strings. "Lila Voss. I run a little life out of my Civic." He laughed, and the sound felt rehearsed even to him. "Let me buy you a real drink." "Somewhere that isn't trying to be Brooklyn." She hesitated, eyes flicking to the exit, then back to the 20. "Hunger one drink." They ended up at a taco stand on Sunset, neon buzzing overhead like a dying insect. Jax talked fast, about the scene, about algorithms, about how raw talent was the only currency that still mattered. Lila ate 3 carnitas tacos and listened more than she spoke. When he asked if she had demos, she pulled a scratched CD from her guitar case labelled Lila in Sharpie. He took it like it was the Dead Sea Scrolls. 2 weeks later, he called her at 2:13 a.m. "I can't stop playing." "Shadow trade. It's haunting. We need to record it properly." "Properly costs money," she said, voice thick with sleep. "I've got investors." "You've got a garage." "Same thing." She showed up the next day with her guitar and a duffel bag of clothes. The garage had been cleared of lawn tools and now housed a single mic, a laptop, and a beanbag that smelled faintly of cat. Jax wore headphones like a crown. He made her sing the chorus 16 times until her throat rasped. Then he layered harmonies he'd written in his head at 3 a.m. when they played it back. The song sounded bigger than both of them. Lila stared at the waveform on the screen like it might bite her. "This is yours," Jax said. "I'm just the frame." She didn't believe him, but she stayed. They worked like that for months. Lila wrote in coffee shops. Jax edited in the dark. He taught her how to angle her face for photos, how to end sentences on an uptick so interviewers leaned in. He booked her first gig at a venue with actual lighting. She wore the copper dress again. Jax stood in the wings filming on his phone, posting clips before the last note faded. Lila Voss, next big thing. The algorithm noticed. Then the people did. By the time her EP dropped, 4 songs, self-released on Bandcamp, Jax had a manager, friend who owed him. The friend got them a slot, opening for a mid-tier indie band at the Troubadour. Lila shook so hard backstage she chipped a nail on her guitar pick. Jax pressed a flask into her hand. "Liquid courage." "You're a star." "Act like it." She drank, she sang. The room tilted, then righted itself under her voice. Someone in the crowd screamed the chorus back at her. She looked for Jax. He was already live streaming. After the show, a woman in a blazer cornered them. "A&R Big Machine. We want to sign her." Lila's mouth went dry. "We?" "You," the woman said, eyes on Lila. "But your producer's got vision. We'd keep him on." Jax's grin was sharp enough to cut glass. "See? Told you." The contract was a forest of clauses. Lila read it twice, then signed because the advance could pay her mother's medical bills. Jax signed too as co-producer. His percentage was bigger than hers. She didn't notice until later. The label put them in a studio with gold records on the walls. Engineers who'd worked with legends adjusted her levels. Jax hovered, suggesting, directing. More ache on the bridge. "Think of your dad." Leaving. Lila's dad had died when she was 9, but she did it anyway. The song cracked open like a geode. They titled the album Copper and Rust. The cover was Lila in the copper dress, eyes closed, mouth open mid-note. Jax's name was smaller, beneath hers in the credits. He told interviewers it was her vision. He told her the same thing in bed. After the first time they slept together, her on the studio couch, Him whispering that genius needed friction. The album debuted at number 47 on Billboard. Not earth-shattering, but enough. Tours followed. Opening slots became headliners. Lila's face appeared on subway ads. Jax travelled with her, managing, producing, posting. He had a signature now, a little JH watermarked on every video. Fans started calling them Gila. Lila hated it. Jax screenshotted every mention. Then came the late-night shows. The morning radio junkets. The interviewer who asked Lila about her mysterious muse, while Jax sat beside her, arm draped possessively over the couch. She started to say, "It's just me." But Jax jumped in with a story about their garage days. The host laughed. The clip went viral. Giant power couple. Lila's mother called after seeing them on TV. "He talks more than you sing, Mika." "He's helping," Lila said, but the word tasted metallic. The second album was supposed to be hers alone. The label gave her a deadline and a budget. Jax booked a house in Joshua Tree. No distractions. Just art. They fought over tempos, over lyrics, over whether selling out was a real thing or just cowardice. One night she found him on the porch rewriting. Her bridge with a ghostwriter. He'd flown in. "It's punchier," he said. She threw his laptop into the sand. The album still charted higher. Critics called it polished. Fans called it mature. Lila called it the Jax Harlan remix. She started writing in secret. Notebook pages torn out and hidden in her bra. Songs about leeches, about cages with Wi-Fi. She played them for no one. The Grammy nod came for Best New Artist. Not the album. Not a song. Her. The camera caught Jax's face when they announced it. Surprise. Then something colder. Calculation. At the ceremony, she wore a dress the colour of dried blood. Jax wore a tux with a copper pocket square. When her name was called, the room roared. She walked to the stage alone. Jax stayed seated, clapping too hard. Her speech was short. "This is for every girl who thought..." Her voice was background. Noise. She didn't thank him. Backstage, photographers wanted couple shots. Jax pulled her close. "Smile, babe. This is our moment." She smiled with teeth. The fallout was surgical. Jax posted a black square on Instagram with the caption, "Proud." Comments flooded. "Where's Lila?" He didn't tag her. She didn't post at all. 3 days later, she fired him. Not in person, over email, CCing the label. Creative differences. She hired a new manager, a woman named Marisol, who'd once been a touring bassist and didn't smile unless she meant it. Jax called 47 times. Left voicemails that started sweet and ended shrill. "You need me. This is career suicide. Remember the garage." She blocked his number. The label panicked. Jax had been their buffer, their translator. Without him, Lila was difficult. She insisted on Final Cut, on co-production credits for herself, on songs that didn't scan for radio. They gave her an ultimatum, play nice or get shelved. She walked. Independent again, but not the same. She had fans now. A voice, a story. She crowdfunded her next record in 48 hours. Titled it Unproduced. The cover was her in the copper dress, but this time she was burning it. The flames were real, shot in a controlled burn on a soundstage. Jax's name nowhere. It debuted at number 3. Jax, meanwhile, spiraled. His garage label folded. The investors wanted Lila, not him. He started a podcast. Behind the Hits, promising the real story. Episode 1. How I Discovered Lila. Force? It was 82 minutes of him, talking over her old demos. Downloads 400. He blamed algorithms. He slid into industry parties uninvited, cornering execs with new talent. The talent was always a girl, with a guitar and a familiar look. None of them bit. One sent him a cease and desist after he used her likeness in a pitch deck. Lila toured unproduced to sold-out theatres. No opener, no backdrop. Just her, a mic, and the truth. She told the story between songs, how fame was a duet until one voice got louder, how credit was a currency, how love could be alone with interest. Fans screamed. Critics wept. The copper dress hung in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, singed edges and all. Jax watched from his apartment, refreshing ticket sites. Sold out every city. He bought a scalped ticket to her LA show with his last credit card. Stood in the nosebleeds, unrecognizable in a hoodie. When she sang the new song, "Borrowed Light," he mouthed the words he'd helped write, back when they were theirs. After the encore, he waited by the stage door. Security knew his face. "Miss Voss isn't seeing visitors. I just need 5 minutes. She said especially not you." He left a note anyway. "I was wrong. Let me make it right." She found it in her dressing room, pinned under a bottle of water. "Read it once. Tore it in half. Let the pieces fall like confetti." 6 months later, Jax's podcast was down to 40 listeners. He started busking in Echo Park, covering Lila's old songs. His voice cracked on the high notes. Passers-by dropped quarters out of pity. One night, a kid with a phone filmed him. Posted it with the caption, "Dude who stole Lila Voss's career now singing for tips." It got 2 million views. Jax woke up to his own face trending, Karma. He deleted his accounts. Changed his name on streaming platforms to Zero Streams. Lila, meanwhile, won her first Grammy. For Unproduced. Best album. She thanked her mother, Marisol, the fans. And the girl in the garage who believed her voice was enough. Jax watched the broadcast in a bar in Reseda. Ordered a ginger ale. When the camera panned to Lila, radiant, alone on stage, he raised his glass to the screen. "To the frame," he whispered. The bartender looked over. "You say something?" "Nah." Jax left a 20 on the bar and walked out into the night. Somewhere, a girl with a guitar was singing to an empty room. He kept walking.